Hello again. We're here with more scotch. A very well regarded scotch, Lagavulin, or Lagavulin, I think is how you pronounce it. 16. This one is from Lay, I believe is how you pronounce it. And it is one of those that's very much known for its peat character, or as we would simplify it, its smoky character. The and when you smell it, the first thing you get is certainly peat. Peat, but there's something sweet back there. I can't, I can't identify it, but there's a sweet flavor back there mixing in with it. Something kind of earthy as mixing in with the smoke. It's got, if you like a smoky character, you'll like the nose on this one. Again, now some people don't like smoky whiskeys. In fact, I think largely because probably Johnny Walker has a smoky character, although it's not a heavily peated whiskey for sure, but it's got a peated character, and that's the most popular whiskey. And a lot of the blends have focus on peat. That a lot of people view Scotch as basically, I've heard it said, it's like inhaling smoke. And then they'll have something like the Balvenie that we reviewed last time, and they'll be shocked at how, balanced and how not like inhaling smoke Balvenie is. Lagavulin is really smoky. First taste here. Smoke. Charcoal comes to mind. Something kind of, let me taste it again, because there's something really there. It's almost like an earthy kind of flavor that's mixing in with the smoke. But, when I say that, it's not, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just kind of smoke with this earthy kind of overtone. Let's just cut that just a little bit. See if that opens it up a little bit. Smell is basically the same, although you're getting a little spice coming out now with the peat. It's almost something you would smell in the water kind of thing. Kind of almost a pond-like smell, if that makes sense. A little more sweetness came out there, although not much. The main thing still is peat. It's a balanced peat that kind of just embraces you. And heavy aftertaste that kind of hangs on pretty good. This is a very well regarded whiskey, and for good reason. If you like a peated whiskey, this is a great one to get. Where I'm at, I feel it's a little high. It's running over 80 where I'm at. $85 usually is about what I can get it for. And I feel that that's a bit high. This is the only bottle I have ever bought. And it will be a while before I buy another bottle, because $85 is a lot for me. unless I can find it cheaper. I've seen it online for a lot less, and so maybe in your neck of the woods it might be lower. If this was beneath 60, this would become, let's just say even 55. This might become a occasional I'll treat myself purchase. So we need those. But if you're wanting to experience a really good peaty single malt, that's going to really give you a sense of the complexity of peat. Because again, I mean, I'm not one of those people who's going to go on and on about, I taste apricots and honey wheat and, you know, leprechauns playing in fields of heather kind of thing that some people can do. And again, I kind of jest, but I can't do that and have no pretension to be able to do that. But there's a lot going on here, and so it's not just like as a friend said, you're inhaling smoke. The smoke is being enhanced by some nice flavors, some very earthy flavors that give this a very deep character and a very warming kind of character. This is a whiskey for a cold night. But again, I think at least where I'm at, the price is currently too high, unfortunately, and so I usually only drink this on special occasions or nights like tonight when I'm actually reviewing it. The but be that as it may, well worth trying. You might look to see, because this will be carried in a lot of bars, and while obviously it's not a good value, sometimes if you just want to try something, it might be worth it to splurge, say, $15 to $20 on a double. Most bars will give you half price for a double, so if you buy an old Scotch, get a double, or if you do a flight, this might be a good one. A good place to try it if you can get a flight. But that might be a good way to see it if in your area this whiskey's as expensive as it is in my area. That was the way I first tried it. And again, I don't think there's if you really like whiskey, I don't think there's anything wrong with spending 20 some odd dollars to try a whiskey where the bottle would cost you $130, for instance. And if you really like it, you can keep it marked. But I typically find that, the ones that cost 130, 120 aren't that much better than the ones that cost 50 or 60, which are slightly better, although not that much better than the ones that cost 40. Typically, that's the way I feel. You may feel differently, as I've always argued. With a Scotch age, the price keeps going up, but the quality doesn't go up as fast as the price. Well, regardless, this is a really nice one. It's at 16, which I think is the kind of the sweet spot for Scotch is 15, 16. If you've heard me, I think that 12 to 18 range, you really don't need to go outside of usually. There's some great whiskeys at 10. There's some great whiskeys at 20. But I think the absolute best I've had are typically within that range. And there's some interesting differences. I can't afford to do the review, but I was at a bar recently, and they had a Macallan flight, and they had 12, 15, and 18. And at least with Macallan, the 15 and the 18 were clearly better than the 12. The 18 had the most beautiful smell. I wish you could get someone to manufacture a perfume or something, an air freshener that smelled like Macallan 18. It was delightful. and so it's had a much better nose than the 15. On the tongue, the 15 actually might have had a better flavor to it. At least in my opinion. You may disagree. On the nose, the 18 of Macallan was ridiculous. And so you get different strengths, I think. And again, but the 18 Macallans cost just a absurd amount. And I wouldn't buy it unless I was doing a flight. But anyway, the Lagavulin is strongly recommended if you can find it, or if you can kind of get it at a bar. If you can get it for beneath 60. If you've never had it and you've got the money, feel free, splurge. But it is getting a little higher than most of what I review, and I'm a very price conscious guy. Anyway, great whiskey. That's all I got. See ya.